Imagine holding the power to write a single line of code. This code isn't for a computer, it's for the DNA of a living species, a tiny instruction woven into life itself. This isn't a code to change something simple like eye color. It is a special command, a command that makes sure it gets copied and passed on, spreading through an entire population until every single member carries it. This powerful idea has a name. It's called a gene drive. At its core, a gene drive is a way to cheat evolution. Normally, when two parents have a child, any single gene has a 50% chance of being passed down. It's like a coin flip, but a gene drive breaks this rule. It changes the odds from a simple coin flip to a near certainty. A trait linked to a gene drive gets passed on almost 100% of the time. It forces its way into the next generation and the one after that. This isn't just a thought experiment. Scientists are using this idea to tackle one of the world's biggest problems, malaria. A project called Target Malaria is working on a bold plan. They want to alter the Anopheles gambiae mosquito, the species that carries the disease. The goal is to use a gene drive to change these mosquitoes forever. We could make them unable to have offspring, causing their population to shrink. Or we could simply make them unable to carry the malaria parasite. Either way, a deadly disease could be stopped. So, how does this engine actually work? The main tool is a system called CRISPR-Cas9. Think of it like a pair of tiny scissors and a tube of glue for DNA. It can find a specific spot in the genetic code, cut it, and paste something new. The gene drive carries two things: the new gene we want to add and the CRISPR machinery itself. When an offspring gets the gene drive from one parent and a normal gene from the other, the CRISPR system gets to work. It finds the normal gene, cuts it out, and copies the gene drive in its place. Imagine holding the power to write a single line of code. This code isn't for a computer, it's for the DNA of a living species. A tiny instruction woven into life itself. This isn't a code to change something simple like eye color. It is a special command, a command that makes sure it gets copied and passed on, spreading through an entire population until every single member carries it. This is not just a change, it's a potential verdict. A genetic command that could, with surgical precision, erase an entire species from the book of life. This powerful and terrifying idea has a name. Now, that offspring will pass the new gene to all of its own children. But this technology isn't just for fighting disease. It could also be used to fix broken ecosystems. Imagine an island where native birds are being wiped out by an invasive species, like rats that arrived on ships. It's a huge problem that's hard to solve. A gene drive offers a new solution. Scientists could design a drive to spread a gene for infertility only through the rat population. The rats would slowly and humanely vanish from the island. The native birds would be safe again, and the ecosystem could begin to heal itself. This is how fast our world could change. A normal genetic trait, a new color or size, might take thousands of years to become common in a species. It's a slow, careful dance. A gene drive is not slow. It is like hitting fast forward on evolution itself. Imagine one modified mosquito is released into the wild. Within just a few years, almost every mosquito in that area could carry the new genetic code. The change doesn't fade away. It spreads with incredible speed. 1 becomes 1,000, and 1,000 becomes millions, all carrying the new instruction. But this is where the simple plan becomes a huge, complicated question. What happens when an entire species is gone? Even a pest we don't like is part of a bigger picture. Mosquitoes are food for birds, bats, and fish. They are a link in a long chain of life. When you remove one link, the whole chain can fall apart. This is called an ecological cascade. If the mosquitoes disappear, what happens to the fish that eat them? What happens to the birds that eat the fish? We would be starting a chain reaction that we cannot predict or control. This is the first great risk. We are trying to solve one problem, but we might create a dozen new ones. We would be editing a book without knowing what the next chapter says, and the danger gets even weirder. A gene drive is a piece of code written into life itself. Like any code, it can have bugs. It can change or mutate into something we never planned. A drive designed to stop a disease could mutate to do something else entirely. Even more frightening is the idea that the code could jump. This is called horizontal gene transfer. What if the gene drive moves from the target mosquito into a different, harmless insect? A tool meant to help us could accidentally harm a species we need, like bees that pollinate our food. This brings us to the most important idea. A chemical pesticide eventually washes away. It breaks down in the sun and rain. A gene drive is different. It is a permanent, self-copying change to the living world. It does not fade. Once released, it is basically irreversible. For all of time, that change is now part of nature's code. There is no off switch, there is no going back, and a living creature does not care about lines on a map. A modified mosquito can fly from one country to another. A fish can swim across an ocean. A technology released in one small place could, over time, spread across the entire planet. There is no wall high enough to stop it. The problem is permanence. Once a gene drive is released, it doesn't stop at a border. It doesn't ask for permission. It just spreads. This creates a terrifying thought. What if we make a mistake? Is there any way to put the genie back in the bottle? To solve this, scientists are working on a safety switch. It's called a reversal drive. This is a second gene drive, built for one purpose. It hunts down the first one. The reversal drive finds the modified gene in every animal it can. Then it uses its own tool to overwrite the change. It pastes the original natural gene back into place. But this isn't a simple undo button. It means releasing yet another powerful, self-spreading technology into the world, hoping a second change can fix the first. This brings up a bigger question. Who gets to make these choices? Who decides to release a technology that will affect the entire planet? A single government? A private company? We don't have an answer. Right now, there are no international laws for gene drives. A decision made in one lab could change ecosystems a continent away. The risk is not just about changing nature, it's about power and who gets to wield it on a global scale. This power is bigger than any one country or problem. For billions of years, evolution worked on its own. It was a slow dance of chance and survival. It shaped every living thing. With gene drives, we are stepping into that dance. We are seizing the keyboard of life. We are gaining the ability to direct evolution itself. This is a profound change. Humans are becoming the editors of the living world. So this isn't just a story about a new technology. It is a story about a choice that humanity is standing on the edge of making. On one side of the scale is immense promise, the power to wipe out devastating diseases, the ability to restore ecosystems we have broken, the chance to heal our planet. On the other side is immense peril, the risk of an irreversible mistake, an ecological disaster that we create but cannot stop. The final question is not about the technology, it's about us. With this incredible power in our hands, what will we choose to do? The same tool that could end a disease could also be used to end a food source. A gene drive that targets a crop-eating insect is based on the same science as one that targets a mosquito. This technology has two faces. One brings immense hope. The other brings a new and silent kind of threat. Imagine a genetic command designed to make a plant like wheat or rice sterile, unable to make seeds. It would spread quietly from one field to the next, carried on the wind. The attack would be invisible. It wouldn't be a loud explosion, but a quiet change in the code of life itself. This power reshapes how countries must work together. A gene drive released in one place will not stop at a border drawn on a map. Wind, water, and animals can carry the genetic change anywhere. An experiment in one nation could quickly become a permanent reality for the entire world. This creates new, difficult questions. Who is responsible if an engineered gene causes harm in another country? How can we build trust when the technology is so powerful? The international rules we have today were made for a different time. They were not designed for a world where biology can be programmed to spread. But this immense power doesn't just belong to big governments. It starts in a laboratory. It often begins with one person or a small team of scientists. In their hands, they hold the genetic keys to the future of a species. That is a heavy responsibility to carry. A few lines of code could save millions of people. A tiny mistake in that same code could unravel an ecosystem. The decision to even start such an experiment is a huge ethical choice. The choice to release that code into the wild is a decision that could change the planet forever. To manage these risks, scientists are designing smarter safety switches. One idea is called a daisy chain gene drive. It works by splitting the genetic instruction into several parts. Each part is like a link in a chain, and each one is needed to activate the next. If any single link is missing from the chain, the whole system stops. The drive is built to run out of energy. The genetic change spreads for a limited number of generations, and then it disappears. This could give us the power to make local changes without making a permanent change to the entire world. So the ultimate challenge isn't just about building better tools. It's about growing our own wisdom. We are gaining the ability to write in the language of life, but we are still just beginning to understand the full meaning of the stories it tells. The power to erase a species forces us to ask a deeper question. What do we truly value, and what is worth protecting at all costs? The code of life is now open for us to edit. The only question left is what we will choose to write.